Welcome back everyone to the Novelist. We're invading a memory, I think. What are we doing? I can't remember. Mr. Lowry finally gave in and agreed to let me inspect the house. I believe he simply grows tired of hearing me ask. I noticed the pattern when I was cleaning out old files and this house kept coming up. It's changed owners 7 times. Well, I wonder who caused that. The view is striking. It's a mystery, but that's why I'm here. So we've got some sort of ghost whisperer who's come in to investigate the house. Anything we can see here? No. Okay, the family are asleep. So we're gonna try and do a resolution for these characters. "1948. I didn't actually notice that on the last note, but wow, 1948. I simply don't understand it. Who wouldn't want to see this every morning? I slept very well last night. I was inspecting the upstairs walkway to make sure the railing was sturdy when I saw something odd downstairs. I'm not certain I can describe what it was, and I've already talked myself halfway out of thinking it was anything at all. It was anything all. It was probably just a trick of the lights coming through those big windows. Right, so things are getting spooky. So the family are worried. Alright, let's whisper. It came to Dan in a flash. He'd written down an idea in an old notebook before coming to the house. It had somehow fallen beside the desk in the bedroom, and though he had no clue what gave him the idea to check where it had found, it had just the same. Linda was upset that Dan wouldn't even take a single night off. No. She drank a bottle of wine herself and she spent the next morning trying to deal with the hangover. Dan's mind was elsewhere when Tommy tried to get his dad to play Racing Roger with him. Linda found Tommy trying to play the game by himself after dinner. Aww. The inheritance. Okay, so alright, I'm a terrible person. I will freely admit that, but maybe we can make a compromise in this situation. But yeah, the weather's awful today. So we've made Dan happy, but no one else really. Whether your child enjoys arts and crafts, swimming, recreation, whatever, they're sure to have a ball at Camp Emerald Lake. We know that every family has unique needs and we strive to be as flexible as possible. Okay, so has Tommy gone to Emerald Lake? Or does he want to? Oh crap, there's Tommy there. Let's look at that. Oh, Tommy wants some friends, I think. By the looks of things, he either wants friends or he misses his friends. So that's quite sad. Anything? Nope. Okay, there goes Tommy. And Linda. Let's have a look in here. There goes Dan. Oh, I can't look at that notebook, but I can read this. Dan. I looked into it and the guy at the literary register said that pre-release ads do drive up pre-orders quite a bit. It's his job to sell ads, of course, so we have to take that with a grain of salt. But I checked with them and they said the same thing. So it seems like the ads would make sense. If the book is good, you don't want to oversell and underdeliver. It's the first time I've had a writer offer to pay for extra marketing. You sure about it? There aren't any refunds? Think about it and let me know. Okay, so Dan is struggling. He needs to find a new method of gathering some income. Let's look at that. The literary register. Okay, so that's not anything to do with Dan in particular. Well, I mean, it is, but he's not in it. So, is Tommy in here? No, he's not. Anything more to do with Tommy? I mean, this is a really nice house. I would love to live in a house like this. Look at the gorgeous views and the nice windows, but I suppose if it's haunted, even if it's haunted by a nice ghost, which I've got to admit, I'm not technically a nice ghost at the moment because I've only really helped Dan. I'm kind of causing misery for the rest of the family.
We just checked that one.
Let's try and get Linda over here. Look at that picture. Tommy really wants friends. And there's a bird in a cage, and maybe if we... I don't know what the range of this flicker is. Oh, Linda! Nope, doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, well, hopefully if we can look at that book.
I called the co-op today. It isn't wildly expensive, but it sure doesn't fit into the budget. It was a bigger letdown than I thought, not being able to just sign up on the spot. It gets so lonely here sometimes. And I think Tommy's starting to feel it too. We try to play with him every day, and the woods here are pretty magical for someone his age. But kids need to be around other kids sometimes. He can only play with his cars so often. Sometimes I wish there were actual neighbors here. The only friend he's made is Davy, but seeing them at the park once in a while isn't the same as having someone to pal around with every day. It's summer vacation, and he's pretty much all alone.
Right, so the kid in the picture is Davy. And, yeah, so Tommy's kind of quite alone. So, again, we've got the rest of the family sacrificing a lot for Dan. Everyone's struggling, even though they're living in this idyllic little home for the moment. Let's have a look at that note there.
Anne, I'm going to cut right through the pleasantries and ask you, who is this Ryan that Mom mentioned on the phone? Someone new? Are you trying to keep it a secret, or did it just slip your mind the last time we talked? Spill it! Things here are moving along, I guess. When we came up, I thought it would be great to have more dedicated time to paint, but I didn't realize it would be so isolating. I miss having more people around and having new ideas floating about. I got lucky in town last week, though. I found an artist co-op called Makeshift, and it seems really interesting. It's not too big, but there are lots of different types of artists there. I'll probably call and try to get more details. I don't remember if I told you this, but I've been thinking about going back to painting full time. Anyway, enough about me. Tell me what's up with you. Love, Linda.
Okay, so Linda wants to know about what's going on with his sister.
I only met Rick once at a family reunion that must have been, 15 years ago? Turns out he made his fortune by, get this, selling high-end pipes. The Sherlock Holmes kind, not the plumbing kind. He must have been a hell of an interesting guy. I mean, he found a niche and made his way in the world. You have to respect that. It makes me wonder, am I giving everything I have to this book, or am I leaving myself an out? It isn't announced yet. I could always pull the plug. I'd never get another advance again, sure, but there isn't a gun to my head. Unless I put one there. Metaphorically, of course.
Right, so Dan's actually on the... Despite all of the help that we gave Dan before, he's kind of worried that he might have to give writing up. Or maybe not writing up, but certainly this current project of writing up. Because it's just not working for him. Anything here?
I only
Let's
met
read
Rick
that.
once at a family reunion that must have been.
Oh no, we've already read that. Okay, so anything on there? Can you take Tommy out today, maybe to the beach? I think maybe you could both use some fresh air. Okay, so Linda's at the co-op. And oh, we've got all of Tommy's stuff. Dan, are you gonna take Tommy out? What are you both doing in the house? Actually, no, that's not fair. I think Linda's in the house as well. If you haven't been able to tell already, I've got a bit of a cold going on at the moment, so hopefully that will be something I can remove later on. So hopefully that won't be too much of an issue. Shall I read this? Oh no, we've already read that. Okay, so do we have to take a look at Linda's painting maybe? I don't know. Nothing particularly over here that we need to take a look at. These lights are spaced just far enough away from each other to really make you struggle to... Oh, Linda? You going? Yeah, let's look at that painting. No, there's nothing to it. Oh, god damn it. Ah, well. So at least we know that we can strike off that room. And go exploring in the rest of the house. Let's follow Dan into his office. Alright, anything on here? How many things have we got for Dan? Oh, it doesn't say. Well, alright. See, a lot of this is just sort of finding the artifacts, but I'm not really too bothered about that because, you know, it's a small enough house that it doesn't really make it very difficult. Ah, well. So, has anyone watching this... Oh,
I'm gonna cut right.
yep, we've already looked at that. Has anyone watching this had a go at writing? I certainly have. I like... I've tried writing fantasy before, because that's kind of my favourite genre of fiction at the moment. And so I've done... I don't know whether other people are aware of it, but the National Writing Month in November, which it challenges you to write a 50,000 word book in a month, which is hell. It's hell, but it's a nice experience to do. It's quite challenging. And if you're just getting into writing, I'd certainly recommend it. Because oh crap! What do you want? Why didn't Daddy play Racing Roger with me? Oh no, Tommy's still worried about that. Oh, we can possess this little lamp over here. Okay, what's Linda worried about? Nothing's gonna change if he doesn't even try. Get out of the house. What's Tommy want? Said they're swimming? Okay. Just be around people. Why are the houses so far apart? Oh, I can imagine Linda.
Yeah.
So let's read Dan's thoughts. He has to learn about grown-up problems at some point. So Dan's worried that Tommy is kind of catching on, or that he needs to be told about what's going on. Can't really be left in the dark. What else do you think? Can see the threads. I think I could pull this book off. So, I mean, this is kind of the trouble that writer's block brings into a family. It's, why am I holding back? So Dan's worried about himself. He's worried about his own drive. Once it's out there... Anyway. Dan, have you got anything in here? Nope. It does make me wonder what sort of time period this game is set in when I see the typewriter and the old television. It's not really... Already read that. It's kind of it's a timeless game. Kind of. You don't really get an idea of whether this is a modern game or set in modern times, but it could be. But it could just as well be set at any point in the last, I don't know, 20, 30 years? Possibly longer, but I doubt it. I need to find more stuff. Are there other families here? Everyone is lonely but Dan. Dan's just worried about himself. He's kind of... I wouldn't call Dan selfish, but he's kind of insulated. He's only really caring about his own problems. But then I suppose at the same time he might not have the time to care about anyone else's problems. If he did, I suppose it would keep him from writing even more than his own doubts are. So, who knows? This is the worst. Don't worry, I will skip out the boring bits. See other styles?
Hey, how's it going?
Alright. How's my little man doing?
Okay.
See, because that book was hidden in a little cubbyhole before, I'm wondering if I'm just sort of missing something that's hidden under a desk or whatever.
The light?
Who knows?
I'm gonna need to call about that one.
Hey, this.
Oh, cool.
Oh, Dan's watching TV with Oh, I would say with Tommy, but it's not anymore. It's Oh, okay. Well, Dan's had enough of that. These characters do wander aimlessly quite a bit. I suppose it's quite good from a challenge perspective that they're not always stuck in their rooms and very obvious in their routines. But it does make it a bit weird. It makes everyone look a bit restless, which I suppose they might be. Whether your child enjoys, blah 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 blah. Let's look at what we've got to do. So we've got to search the house and his memories for more clues. And we've just got to search the memories of the other Kaplans for their clues. Right, so let's look at people's memories. Is Linda in here? Come on, Linda. Let's sneak it behind her. Let's sneak it behind her. Let's explore her memories. See what's going on here.
Is there something out there?
The entire world's out there.
Is there something out there?
Is there anything else? We've got a bit of a... You can hear the sound getting a bit louder. Now let's see what Linda wants.
I've barely had any journal entries since we arrived, and I'm writing this one with a god-awful headache. Not a good track record so far, Linda. I tried to get Dan to take a night off last night, but he said he just didn't have the time. So I opened that bottle of wine myself after Tommy got to bed and somehow finished the whole thing. I knew I should have eaten something, and now I'm paying for it. Alright, time to see if my stomach's settled enough to figure out where we put the aspirin. It's gonna take a while to get used to where everything is in this place.
Okay, so no more memories in this place. Let's exit. Oh, wrong button. What does she want? Okay, they threw some gear in my painter bag and take it to the co-op. Linda wants to go to the co-op because that's where all the other painters are. So I don't really know. I kind of, maybe it's just because I've done more stuff with Linda so far, but I'm kind of swaying more towards Linda in this. She's having issues with her husband and okay, let's look in the memories of Dan. But Linda's kind of having issues with her husband, and he's ignoring her, and Tommy's kind of becoming a bit needy. I mean, he is a child, so he does have needs, so it's understandable, but she does need a break. Anyway, let's look at Dan's stuff.
And when I finish my book in December,
Don't joke like that. Don't joke like that.
and when I finish my book in December.
Okay, so Dan's worried that his book will be late, I think.
Broke through the fog last night. I found my notebook and it was all right there. Scott takes Alice to the lake to feed the swans, and he's too self-absorbed to switch up his go-to move, and Sarah's there waiting to confront him. He ends up losing them both. It's simple, but it's a clean way to hit the past as anchor theme. I have no clue how I forgot that part, but it doesn't matter now. It's like a dam broke. I got the chapters to Paul on schedule, with enough time to do first-pass revisions. God, I'm glad that's over.
Okay, so let's exit the memory and see what Dan wants. Whoops, I don't want to do that. What do you want, Dan? Send Paul an example from the literary register. Okay, so we know where we know where the literary register is, but before we do anything, I want to see what Tommy wants. Because even though I'm sort of swaying to more towards Linda, it's nice to see what other people, what the rest of the family are going through. Tommy, where are you heading off to? You going in there?
Ooh, it's messed up.
Alright, Tommy, let's just creep up behind you.
What?
There you go. Easy peasy. Alright, let's check out these memories.
What about your rocket?
I already played with it.
Okay, so they're worried about the, Tommy's getting bored. I mean, what kid wouldn't if they're all alone in the middle of the woods? Because you gotta have friends. Even if you like to live in a rural area. I grew up in a rural area. And I still had people that I could go to talk to. Which is really important. Oh, so Tommy's sad. Alright. Oop, that was close. Almost got discovered there. So, actually no, I forgot to see what Tommy wants. Tommy, what do you want? Bring my kite to the camp that Mommy told me about. Okay, so Tommy wants a kite. Linda... What did Linda want? She wanted her art bag, didn't she? Would that be her art bag? I think so, but this room is kind of crowded at the moment. So, I don't know. Right. The kite, I believe we passed. There's the kite. No, I'm not sure whether I want to select the kite. I'm going to go with Linda. But I was hoping that we could make a compromise. I'm not sure... Can we? I tried to. Okay, Linda, let's look at your art bag. It said that we can make a compromise, but for some reason we can't. Anyway, let's get the art bag. Selecting the bag will choose Linda's resolution for this chapter. Dan and Tommy will be disappointed. However, if you've discovered Dan or Tommy's desired outcome and haven't spooked them you'll be able to find a compromise with one of them in the next chapter. Okay. Let's press tab and see what we've got. Okay, so they've got all of their stuff there. I don't think we've spooked them, have we? I thought I was doing quite well. Oh well, let's pick up the bag and choose that. So here we go. Nighttime in the Kaplan house once more. By playing carefully and learning the desires of more than one character, you've earned the ability to find a compromise. Yes, with any character you didn't spook in the previous chapter, you can only select one character for a compromise. Press tab to view possible compromises. Right, let's press tab and see what the compromises are. Okay, so we got a compromise with Dan or Tommy. Now, I'm going to be terribly even-handed with this and pick Tommy because Tommy's been ignored entirely, and I'm kind of sympathizing with him in that he's just terrifically lonely. So let's help Tommy go out and play, and let's help Linda express her creativity. So let's pick the kite as well. Selecting the kite will choose Tommy's compromise. Yep, okay, we can do that. Brilliant. So, what can we find? Oh, there we go. Harold Baxter, 1948. I failed to log my activities yesterday. There have been no tricks of the light. Ho ho ho. And I've grown certain that the ones I saw were reflections. I've also reached a decision on how to proceed. It came to me this morning as I stood in the conservatory admiring the beauty of the forest. I hadn't begun my work yet and was thinking of nothing in particular when an idea came into my head fully formed. I was surprised that it appeared with such clarity, but it's not unheard of for the mind to ponder a question in the subconscious. As for the idea, it's quite simple. I will buy the house myself. So, the investigator who couldn't be spooked. Or, at least wasn't spooked yet. Can you imagine if we looked outside and there was a ghost or something? There was Slender Man. That would be terrifying, to say the least. But, anything in here? What about Linda? Okay, so Dan's at least worrying about his wife. Yeah, can you imagine if this suddenly turned into a horror game? Anyway. Explore the house, then whisper your choice to Dan. So, creeping around spookily. Looking for things. You may be wondering why I'm not really looking out the windows that often. And that's because the scenery is nice, but you've got to sort of savour it. You can't be looking at the scenery all in one go. There's a hint if you're ever bored. Find the details and savour them. I'm now certain there's something strange with the light here. It must be those windows. I would assume the elevation would put the ocean too far away. There was nothing except a strange shimmer. But on to work, I began cataloguing possible options for the property. I owe Mr. Lowry a report by the 24th. Okay, well... more from the desk of Harold Baxter. And I think that might be it. So let's go and whisper the choice into Dan's ear. Creeping up on Dan. Gonna whisper the choices to Dan's ear. Linda was thrilled when Dan told her about the inheritance money and offered to use it for the co-op instead. Ah. See, we're finding a good compromise. We're helping out all the family. And Dan knew that while he couldn't also pay for Tommy to go to camp, it was important for him to have more playtime with other children his age. So he called up Davy's parents and arranged regular playdates at the playground in town. Hooray! Oh, but Dan decided not to place the ad, and deep down he felt like he was giving himself a vote of no confidence. It was subtle, but he knew that regardless of the book's current state, he had apprehensions about being able to finish it the way he wanted. So we've kind of rocked Dan's confidence a bit, but it couldn't be helped. We needed to help out the rest of the family.